Welcome to Rick's Corner, brought to you by Old School Labs, the brand I trust and the only one I put my name to. Use my code drasin12 on the link below.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. The man, the myth, the legend. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. Several of you have asked me about Steve Davis. I had him on, I think it's been a couple of years, right?
I was on last year and the year before. So
right. The year before was here, last year was at Rick Racing Live.
Right.
In Hollywood, and then
Correct.
Here again.
Right.
Well, anyway, Steve is back with us. He was a well-known championship bodybuilder, as everybody knows. Had a fantastic body, one of the best in the world. And he knows a lot about training, and we want to talk a little bit about that, what he's done in the past, what he's doing now, and we're just going to talk in general like two guys having fun, and that's what we do, right?
I'd love that.
Okay, back in the days when you were training, and we had Citizen Rick Racing Live, you had a couple of different gyms.
Yes.
And they started where?
Well, I was a student of Vince Gironda.
Right.
And I met a guy by the name of Harvey Keith.
Right.
And he and I decided to replicate that gym in the Santa Clarita area.
I remember that.
So we had the same equipment, the things that he was famous for, the preacher bench,
Right.
the rope pulls, the wide dip machines. We added squat racks because he had passed away by then.
Yeah.
But in any event, Harvey Keith and I opened the Valencia Health Club.
Right.
And then after that, I bought, Joe Gold had built another gym
Right.
in Panorama City.
And I've mentioned this to you all. He built a world gym out there in Panorama
Right.
City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very similar to the one that he had in Venice, but a lot of people didn't know that. I mean, a lot of people don't
Same
know
equipment for
yeah,
sure.
same equipment for sure. A lot of
Right.
people don't know the history of Joe Gold, that he was the owner of Gold's Gym, and then 2 years later, he had sold it, and then he wanted to open up World Gym, which was the same thing,
Right.
but he happened to change the name to World Gym.
He had to because of non-competition.
Exactly. Okay,
Right.
so then you bought that gym from him.
Right.
Okay, and I trained there with you.
Yeah, I know you did. Those are good times.
That's right. I don't know if you remember this, though, but you were closed on holidays,
Uh-huh.
but you gave me a key to go train,
That's right.
and I never forgot that.
And you probably still have it.
Probably do.
You know what amazes me, I have to tell you, and you don't talk about yourself that much.
No.
But boy, what a career you've had. From bodybuilding, I just saw on Facebook one of your poses at the
Yeah,
beach.
yeah.
So you were a bodybuilder, a wrestler, certainly an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and you're memorializing classic bodybuilding, and
Yeah.
we all owe you a service.
You know that no one's done it, and I get a lot of people who write to me and say, thank God you're keeping it alive. It was a passion of mine, like
Right,
yours,
Right.
and it means a lot to me. Training down in Santa Monica and Venice when I was younger was an era that I will never ever forget, and it's too bad that you people weren't around then to see it, but I know we talk about it a lot, but you could even smell it in the air. It just had a feeling to it that it was just fascinating.
Like salty air, almost.
Like salty
Yeah.
air, right. And just the guys were friendly and the bodies were good and the training was really good. It wasn't all pumped up about drugs. I mean, certainly there were drugs, but not like today. We just trained hard and we ate good. And we trained hard.
Sure.
I remember you in your gym training like madman, crazy hard.
Right, intense.
Very intense. Today the guys don't do that. I mean, you look around the gyms today, and if you ask someone who Joe Gold is, they don't even know. They don't know who Vince Gironda is.
Do you know that Joe Gold also was a bodybuilder?
He was a wrestler, too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did a tribute to him about 2 months ago, and I did one to Vince about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Because I want to keep them alive. I think it's important to keep them alive. Because without Joe Gold, without Vince Gironda, without Joe Weider, bodybuilding wouldn't be what it is today.
For sure.
It wouldn't have taken off like that.
Right.
So you had the gym out in Panorama City. I did your logo for you.
That's right.
And that was a good gym.
Uh-huh. Well, it had his equipment. His signature equipment was the best.
Yeah.
And on Facebook, I'm selling books, and the way to do that is partially on Facebook.
Right.
But one of the contributors to Old School Bodybuilding made a point that he had the what do you call the handle for long cable rows.
Seated row handles, right.
He had the original one from World Gym.
Really?
Yes, the same one Robbie used, the same one Arnold used in pumping iron.
Well, I'll
And
tell you what I have.
That guy has way too much time on his hands.
I'll tell you what I have that someone just asked me out the other day. Joe Gold built all of his own equipment, as we know, and he
Yes.
built his benches in the wood, and he put
Right.
the leather or the vinyl on the wood.
Uh-huh.
I have his original table saw that he built those wood benches with, and it's sitting out here in my carport.
Really?
Still have this one I cut my finger off on.
Huh.
I was using it one day, and I put my hand down, and that saw just went like this. My finger flew off, and that was it. But I still have the table saw.
You know, the people out there should know, before we started, you were talking about the fact that you may need to have your knee replaced
Yeah.
after 1,000,000 squats and
Yeah.
wrestling events.
Yeah.
And after you said, I'm going to have it replaced, or I should any day, the next word out of your mouth was, and I'll start working out the next week. It'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
upper body,
Oh, yeah.
but I'll start.
Oh, yeah, that's the
you're,
thing.
You're hooked, brother.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you go through, you've had your health issues.
Sure.
And I think that working out saves you mentally, and if mentally it saves you physically.
Right.
And when I cut this finger off, I cut 3 of them off. I was in the gym the next day with a big hand wrap, and,
No kidding.
and they had stents in there holding them together, finding ways to curl with wrist wraps or whatever I could do. Same thing when I tore my quads in 2001. I tore them wrestling. I was in a wheelchair and leg braces for 6 weeks. I said, screw that. I got in my car a week later, got a walker, and went to the gym every day and worked out upper body. Someone says, why aren't you home sitting around? I said, doing what? Feeling sorry for myself? You know what? Going in and motivating yourself, and this is great for motivation,
Sure.
and getting your mindset and doing your normal routine, getting up and eating, going to the gym, whether you do a little bit or a lot, going out for coffee, having lunch, coming home, the day just goes. Before you know it, a month is gone and you're well.
Well, you know, 5, 6 years ago, I had throat cancer.
That's right.
And I had to go through chemo and radiation at UCLA. And every morning before, even though I looked like a, death warmed over, I would go in my patio and for a half hour work out with dumbbells just to kind of stay in the loop.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget, after it was all over, my body weight went to like 150. And it takes you a couple of months to get over the effects of chemo and radiation.
Sure.
I remember going into the ear, nose, and throat doctor and just dragging, and it weighed like 155 or something. And he looks at me and he says, you know what? You look better than I thought. So they knew what I was up against. And they said, we knew because you were in shape. I don't know about that part, but I know that the discipline that you're talking about, getting up in the morning, doing my thing, and then going to chemo and radiation, really kept me on track.
There's no question about it.
Right.
You can sit home and vegetate and die, or you can take it and go and have a life. Your training back in those days was pretty much old school.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about with the 2 body parts a day.
Yeah.
6 days a week.
Shoulders, arms, and calves, 3 days a week. Chest, back, and thighs, and abs, 3 days a week.
Oh, you hit each body part 3 times a week?
Yeah, I trained with, in that era of Larry Scott.
Yeah, I had done that previously for years, 3 times a week. And then when I moved down to Venice, everybody's doing twice a week, and it actually worked well for me.
I thought Arnold trained 3 times a week for the Olympias.
He trained every day, but I think each body part was twice a week. Yeah,
Really?
It was chest and back on Monday and Thursday, shoulders and arms on Tuesday and Friday,
And legs
on
on
Wednesday and Saturday, and then Sunday was off. But sometimes you go back in the afternoon and do calves and abs. I mean, a lot of people think, I'm going to work my abs and get my waist small, but it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It makes your waist bigger. And the side bends with the weight makes your waist bigger because it's a muscle and it actually protrudes and grows. Which leads me to a point. Back in the days that when you were competing, you had, on my estimation, the perfect body. Similar to Zane and all the guys with the small waist and just a well-proportioned body. And I know it took you a lot to do that because you were heavy before.
Yeah.
But you did it. And
Right.
you stuck with it. And your diet was right on. Like I said, I saw you train. Arnold just said something recently about today's bodybuilders not being the competition. He doesn't care for it because the bodies are so overdone. Distended stomachs, 300-pound bodybuilders, that they've taken the aesthetic look away from bodybuilding and made it into more like gigantic proportion apes. How do you feel about that?
And then plus, you're right, and I think the growth hormone affects that as well. Because when you take, and I took steroids, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
But not growth hormone, it was after my time.
Yeah.
I would have tried it, but I never did.
Yeah.
But that way I looked like Steve Davis. Franco Columbu looked like Franco. Zane looked like Zane. And I think the drugs today, even though I can't speak from experience, they seem to be more powerful than your human frame and genetics.
Exactly.
They override that.
Right.
The last guy to look amazing and still keep his genetics was Lee Haney, in my opinion. I think he might have been the greatest one ever.
Yeah, but I also think they have their place. After a certain age, you do need testosterone therapy because women have estrogen therapy, and we lose it at a certain age, and I think it does keep you fuller. And I do testosterone weekly, and I feel much better for doing it. The growth hormone I've tried off and on. I've never noticed anything really great out of it other than it seems to drop my body fat a little bit. But I don't take large amounts. I just do the 1 unit and 2 I use just to maintain a little bit of youth, I think. I think what really puts people over the edge with the growth is the insulin. The insulin drives them way up in body. They can gain 20 pounds in a week.
I see. I don't even know about it.
Yeah, well, I found out about it years ago, and I'm sure all you guys know about this. The insulin factor is raising that body weight, and it's raising all the organs and everything else, and you have to consume a lot of calories with it. In other words, when you take insulin, you have to eat like within 20 minutes of a lot of calories in order for it to keep you from going to insulin shock. So this makes everything larger and larger and larger. And there's got to be a limit somewhere down the road where you don't have to be 300 pounds to compete anymore because it's not even pretty. No, I mean, it's admirable that you can put your body and make it happen. I mean, that you can do it, that's one thing. But is it pleasing to look at? No. I mean, they do this with women. Now, they're doing something with bodybuilding and doing more of a fitness model thing now, which I think is much
And the guys compete in swim trunks.
Yeah,
which I would have done.
Yeah,
I like that whole thing.
It's more fitness oriented than
Right. Usable muscle.
Yeah, it looks good.
Right.
I mean, the guys today, when you look around the gyms, there's a lot of you young guys out there, 20, 30 years old, look tremendous. You didn't see that back in our day. A lot of guys weren't in shape at all. But today, I mean, some really nice bodies. They don't have to be overblown. They still look muscular. They still got nice arms, a little vascularity, and they look good. Much better than somebody 280 pounds or 300 pounds.
I mean, how bad did I have it? My first teacher was Vince, and my second teacher was Frank Zane.
There you go.
What up with that?
There you go.
Amazing. And that, I still love it. I'm always thinking about a different angle or a different sequence, or as my joints will allow. I'm not benching 225. I promise you.
How's your joints?
They hurt. Medium.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, for a lot of the younger guys that train heavy, we all trained heavy. I mean, I got some of my best lifts in your gym with 150-pound dumbbells, and I actually have it on video.
Presses?
Inclines.
Whoa.
4 reps.
Wow.
But my shoulders ratchet like celery, and they hurt when I sleep at night, and my knees hurt, and my elbows don't bother me, but I did rip a tricep off. And this is from heavy lifting. And so as you young guys do this, take into consideration, you're going to get older. We all get older. And when I was 30, 35, I thought, I'm going to stay this way. I'm just telling somebody, I was going to stay this way forever. I'm living in Santa Monica. I'm training in Venice Beach with all the guys. I have a good tan. I'm a good-looking guy. I got perfect health. My body's in great shape. Well, it should stay forever. And now, at 70, I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah, well, you're doing great.
I'm doing okay, but it's not that. And it's frustrating because even my girlfriend says, she says, I can't get rid of this 10 pounds. She looks amazing. But at 40, 50, 60, and 70, every decade, your body goes through a change, and your metabolism changes, and you have to readjust to go with it. You can't get away with eating those calories like you used to do. We had a junk day 1 day a week. Well, now I have a little dessert a couple of times a week because I feel I've earned it. Yeah. But then you do, geez, is this going to show? Doesn't matter at our age if it shows a little bit, No. It's just what it is. And but you stay lean and hard. How many days are you training now?
5.
That's good.
And plus I have horses, so I ride as often as I can.
That's a workout too.
On some of them it is. But I used to say, look, there are 21 meals a week.
Right.
So Thursday night dinner and Sunday night dinner, we would have fun. So that's 2 out of 21. 19 meals were right on, and 2 were fun. And the next morning on each of the carb, feed your face, munchy, you'd feel guilty.
Oh,
and so that got you going for the next 3 days.
Right.
So it was kind of a mind game. Did you compete at all?
I competed, yes, I competed in Fresno for, Mr. Central something.
California?
Yeah, and in Venice Beach. I did 3 or 4 contests, San Pedro. In fact, Arnold drove me down. He judged it. So I won. But,
did you win the contest?
Yeah, you won the contest because I judged for you. And the thing is that I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. I was wrestling too. And I looked at the contest and I said, this is so political. This guy has this and this one has this, and you're worried about that, and my abs, and does my ass look fat in these jeans? That type of thing. That I thought, this is not fun for me anymore. I'd rather wrestle at night and make my money and still train like a bodybuilder with the rest of the guys. Let them compete. Meantime, I'm putting money in the bank.
And you're on TV.
Twice a week.
Not now, but back then.
Twice a week.
You were doing all different shows.
Exactly. Well, I was on twice a week with wrestling. And then from the wrestling, I was doing commercials and variety shows and
NBC,
ABC, CBS. And so, yeah.
I saw you, Don Peters,
Yes.
Kent Keene.
Yes.
Wow. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We did a lot of shows
Mitzi
back then.
Gaynor?
Mitzi Gaynor,
Right.
Flip Wilson, Cher,
Uh-huh.
all those. And we always got called out to work, and it was fun.
Sure.
And, you know, you work one day on a show, and you make your $700-800, but that $700-800 over a period of time turns into about $5,000-6,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this has been 40 years. I just got a check for Charlie's Angels I did back in the 70s for $1,500. They ran it somewhere in Europe, and I got a check in the mail, so it still comes in.
Fantastic.
And besides that, people say, what'd you do for a living, and how did bodybuilders train and do what you did? Well, we did that kind of. We worked in films, we worked on TV, and it was nice money. So you get your money, and then the next week you collect unemployment. And then you get paid and you collect unemployment. So when you start getting residuals, you live on the residuals, you collect your unemployment in between, which carries over to the next week. And then I was wrestling 5 nights a week and making cash. So it kind of like all fit together.
You know, funny about commercials, I tried out for a Kool-Aid commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And my part, very dramatic, Academy Award winning type part, was I was in a gym doing bench presses, and a big container of Kool-Aid comes crashing through the gym roof.
Yeah.
And 2 little kids come running up and say, that's our friend, he's Kool-Aid. And I go, whoa, that's cool. And, you know, I made $25,000
Yes.
in 6 months.
Yes.
And so the sequel to that is then I got a commercial, the lead in a Gatorade commercial, where I was the gladiator. There were many other guys around, and I walked down the stairs, took off my helmet, opened a thing of Gatorade, and let it fall everywhere like a real animal, and click, cut. So I figured, gee, I made that much on the Kool-Aid, Gatorade, huh? And the director was the same guy that did The Alien. So it was a big budget commercial.
Sure.
I didn't make a penny.
It happens.
Not a penny. They put it on the shelf.
Yeah. I had done things. I did a Camel.
So much for my career.
A Camel cigarette ad. It was a national Camel cigarette ad on Playboy and TV Guide all over the place with the horse and the saddle. It was a $300 buyout. And then I went and did Winston cigarettes in North Carolina. It was $13,000 for a week.
Sure.
So you can't figure what's what. But it's some of the stuff's pretty bizarre that you do in commercials. I mean, they actually do weird things. And like Dr. Pepper beating up guys on a golf course. And,
Oh, in one I was in, it was when McDonald's had salads packaged. And so I played, you know, a bodybuilder at a salad bar, and there was a pushy, fat, short guy and a tall woman, and all different people fighting over the salad bar.
Right.
And so, you know, obviously go to McDonald's because it's already packaged and no one's going to hassle you.
Yeah, you see,
there was some fun stuff
this is the fun of living in California for you guys. When living out here on the West Coast, you have access to all these things because they don't shoot them anywhere else. And since you are a bodybuilder, and it was kind of unique back then, they would call the gym. They want bodybuilders for a commercial, and so everybody run down, and the best of the bunch would get the job. And that's how it went. But the more that you booked yourself, the more they saw you, the more they used you over and over.
Sure.
So those are like dollars in the bank, to the point of I retired from SAG 10 years ago with my pension and full medical insurance free for the rest of my life. So those days built up.
Sure.
It adds it up to something. So today's bodybuilders, I mean, they'll call guys out, and they won't call me anymore, but they did call me. I want you to oil up, wear posing briefs. I said, no, not at my age. I'm not doing that.
And it's so funny, the longer I worked in the industry, as I got older and I would go to an audition, there were 40 guys that were better looking, younger, and I was going, maybe the handwriting's on the wall.
Yeah, but they don't always pick those.
I know.
You know, I had a...
I was intimidated.
No, I had a friend on last week, and this friend of mine named Kevin, who's an actor, and we had gone out on a Flues commercial, and they wanted bodybuilders, and they wanted him as something else and something else. So I said, I'm not going to be the bodybuilding thing. I walked into the audition, and I always kind of speak my mind, and I took my wrestling belt, because I was wrestling at the time, and I came in tights, and they said, are you here for the bodybuilder? I said, I'm not going to do the bodybuilder, but I want to plant a seed in your head, though. You don't have a wrestler. I am a wrestler. I had a world champion. I have a belt. I have all this look that you could utilize in one of the spots rather than a bodybuilder. What do you think? And they looked at me and they go, good idea. I got hired.
Fantastic.
Changed the whole concept. So you got to be open to in your mind to be able to present something that maybe they might like. And actually, that's what an audition is. Show us something we haven't seen.
Right.
And it's the same thing with you guys. Say, I want to be like this guy. I want to be like that guy. Well, that guy's already taken. How about being the best you can be? There's only one Steve Davis.
Sure.
There's not going to be another one. Yeah, there's not going to be another one. There could be another John Smith, and he can be his own character. You know, there's one Frank Zane, there's one Franco Colombo, there's one Vince Giron, there's one Steve Davis. You guys have not Frank Colombo, but you guys have similar bodies, but each of you guys have something different to offer. And it's a different look a certain way, a different face, a different personality, but it's you.
Yeah.
You know, there's similarities, but it's you. And that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
So to maintain what you have today, well, this is going in a lot of directions. I like this. What do you do to maintain yourself today? 5 days a week, you said.
Yeah, I like to. I just finished reading Steve Reeves' book called The Classic Physique, and what he did, obviously my hero, he did the whole body 3 times a week. So
right.
I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And I've been using the same exercises that he used. He wrote a chapter on power walking, which is what I do on the treadmill to warm up.
Yeah.
I've added jump roping, and my favorite new exercise is a kettlebell. I don't know what you call it, kettlebell swings, where you stand with your feet, go down to the floor, and then bring it up to eye level.
Yeah.
What a great exercise.
I've seen people do that.
Wow. I learned about that from Laird Hamilton, the big wave surfer. He writes a column for Men's Journal. And I tried it. Unbelievable. That was one area of my body that I never trained properly, were the erectors.
Yeah, but
and
the thing is, you wouldn't have done that back then.
No, who knew it?
You were locked into what you already did.
Sure.
And it worked. And so if you tampered with it, like a lot of you guys say, oh, I can't change my workout, I won't grow, I might lose something. It's not true. When you do change it, you actually do grow. So you have to take that out of your head, that if I miss a workout or if I change the routine, I'm not going to look the same. Now you might look better.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So as you get older, you open to that because you know now it's not really important. You're not going to compete. So let's try something different for a change. Maybe I will look different.
Vince once told me, I mean, he said a lot of things to me. One time he said, if I had your frame, I'd be famous. I'm sure he threatened to throw me out of the gym when I tried to squat there because that was a no-no.
That was a no-no.
And by the way, there was no leg curl machine in his gym.
No?
None. Absolutely not.
You know what we used to use for leg curl before I went to a gym? YMCA didn't have one. I'd have a guy sit on the ground behind me. I'd lay on the bench and hold on. He'd wrap a towel around my ankles.
Okay.
And he'd pull my legs, and I'd do leg curls. As he's pulling, he's doing lats. So I'm doing hamstrings, and he's doing lats. And if you take a towel behind your head and you pull down so you can do triceps for that guy, you're doing tricep pushdowns this way as he's going that way. We do this in the Army because we didn't have any...
and maybe backstage before a contest, we
would
pump up that way.
With a towel.
Yeah, right.
With a towel. And I know it sounds weird to you guys, but it works.
Yeah.
It really works. It's tension. Yeah, it's dynamic tension. Makes good. Makes sense to me. Let's talk about your books.
Okay. Well, this book, Total Muscularity, is the story of how I went from 285 to 198 and became fairly accomplished as a pro. Has the diet, the exercises, kind of psychological concepts as to how to mentally prepare to train. And then what I didn't have in mass, I made up in symmetry, and meaning that you would work the outer delt, the outer tricep, the inner calf, the upper pec, to balance your physique. And we all have the goal of having, a taper.
Exactly, yeah.
And so this book, The Magic of Symmetry, goes over how to spot, train the body to look the best it can. And one thing Vince told me is the body is like a jewel or a diamond, and you keep training and adding more facets. So, and then this one's kind of fun. This was a seminar that I gave, and a great friend and really icon in bodybuilding back from the old Ironman days was Dennis Weiss. It's called Raw Muscularity, and it was the words from a seminar that I gave on getting in shape. So these books are available on my website, which is stevedavisbodybuilder.com. And it's kind of, this is from the 70s, but it's a different perspective.
Totally different, but a good perspective.
Yeah, I think.
This is what a lot of guys... Old school. This is what a lot of you guys ask to go by. So go on his website and take a look at that, and I think you'll learn a lot from it. I'm totally a believer in that one.
Thank you for letting me promote that too.
No, this is important to me. This is how we keep things alive, right?
Right on, brother.
We got to stay alive.
I hope.
The Hawaiian shirt.
Thank you.
In fact, I think I saw it once before. I almost wanted it.
It was at the vintage store down the street.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, $1.50. I couldn't beat it.
I would have paid $3.
I'm glad I got there first.
Thank you guys for watching Risk Corner. It's always a pleasure to have Steve. And be sure and check his books out because you want to learn how to train the right way this is the right way. You can have a body like he had. I totally believe that. Old school is the way to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
SteveDavisBodybuilder.com.
Yes, I'll put that on there so you can see it.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure.
You're an icon too, my brother. Absolutely.
I'm becoming a legend as I get older.
No problem.
Yeah.
Good way to go down the hill.
It is, definitely. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time on Rick's Corner.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed the video brought to you by Old School Labs. Use my discount code DRASIN12 on the link below at oldschoollabs.com. Hey everyone, now you can have the Gold's Gym logo drawn by me, the artist Rick Drasin, personalized and made out to you and signed by me to frame and put on your gym wall or wherever you see fit to do so. It's a piece of bodybuilding history. It will never be duplicated again. It's the largest selling icon t-shirt logo in the world, and I'm the guy that drew it, and I will draw it for you. Just go to my website, rickdrasin.com, and order there. You can pay through PayPal, and it'll be sent out right away. And be sure to watch Rick's Corner for all the videos on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, pro wrestling, and anything that suits your interest as far as getting physically fit and being the best you can be from the golden era of bodybuilding.
He's the equalizer, baby. See you next time.